Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy. You can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. I am 39 years old. I am from southeastern Michigan. I live here with my husband and my 2 kiddos. I love to knit and I love to crochet and I love to talk about yarn and cool knitting, crocheting, crafting things that I've seen on the internet. I love to share my patterns that I've ran across with you guys. I love to share the patterns that I'm working on with you. And by working on, I mean that I'm actively knitting or crocheting. I do not design any patterns. I have no intention on ever doing that. Let's see, what else do I like to show? I like to show works in progress, finished objects, things that I'm thinking about knitting that I'm maybe not sure about, and just, general yarny, crafty chattiness. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, please stick around. I would love to have you. For everybody that's returning, thank you so much for returning. And if you're new here, welcome. I appreciate that you took the time to check out my podcast. Okay, so you know what? I am just going to start off by talking about the weather because the weather outside looks exactly like how I feel. It is dreary, it is gloomy, it is drizzly, and it is yawny. If weather could be yawny, it would be yawny. I cannot stop yawning today. I don't know what's going on, but it's one of those days where you look outside and you're just like, blah. That's what today is. I'm hoping that as we get out of April and into May, we will have lots of sunshine and lots of opportunities to sit outside on the deck and look at the birds. And there's the female cardinal like right outside the window right now. So if you hear any peeping, that is courtesy of Miss Peeps, which is what my family has been calling the male and the female cardinal that live here, Mr. and Mrs. Peeps. So with all of that said, let's start with admin. I give away a pattern prize, a digital pattern prize, every podcast. And in order to enter, all you need to do is just leave a comment down below. So that way you'll qualify for the random comment picker that I run every Sunday. So if you're new here, my podcasts come out every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock Eastern. And I usually wait until like Sunday mid-afternoon to pick a winner. So if you want to enter, just enter before next Sunday. Really simple. So with all of that said, I'm going to leave a blank spot right here. And if that was you, please reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. Let me know what pattern prize that you want and I will be sure to gift it to you. The only rules for the giveaway are that the pattern prize must be 15 USD or under, and you can only win once a month. That's just to make it fair and even, so that way the same person isn't winning all the time. Okay, let's see what else admin-wise. My cardigan. Now, this is the Baseline Cardigan by Susanne Sommer, and I love this cardigan. I worked on this cardigan using my Blackbird Sycamore yarn Advent that came out the previous Christmas. So if you are interested to learn about basically what I did throughout the construction, you can take a look at some of my podcasts from December to like January-ish. And that should give you a good idea. I alternated colors. I used basically the Advent. I alternated the colors, but for the baseline, you start, I believe, right here. The middle of the back, and then you cast on, I'm trying to remember, and knit out this way. So I started, it's like a revert, what do I want to say? It's like a mirror fade. I love how Stephanie, that is the dyer from Blackbird Sycamore. I love how she dyes her yarn, and I love her Advents. This was the second year that I got her Advent, and I have already ordered it for next year because her Advents are so awesome all the time. And this, just look at the colors. They're just great and happy. So if that is something you're interested in, you can take a look at her Advent. I followed the link that she had on Instagram and just pre-ordered it. Okay, so that is my baseline cardigan by Susanne Sommer. So let me talk really quick about the pattern, because when you go to the pattern picture page, it doesn't show like the alternating rows. So for this, for my Advent specifically, I did 2 stripes of each color, and I alternated a neutral with a color, a neutral with a color, and then I swapped out the color. So I think I ended up with a pretty good flow going on here. And I really like how the neutral, which is also from Blackbird Sycamore yarn, I think antique or paper. She has a lot of good neutrals, but I like how it breaks up the color and it just seems to make it flow really well. I have thought about making like Advents without that neutral break, but I really think that every time I kind of think about doing it, I feel like adding that neutral in just makes the whole thing flow and kind of work together just a little bit. The only time I think I would probably avoid doing that is if the Advent was a very gradual fade. And I've had an example of that. It is my Radvent cardigan where it is a very gradual fade, and I think that a neutral in between would kind of block it up. Anyways, do you guys hear that? I hope it's coming up on camera. That is the cardinal. Okay, for this week's knitting, I have been working a lot on the Cowltopus. So if you don't know what the Cowltopus is, I'm putting up some pictures on the screen. It is basically a balaclava. Just the pictures are up on the screen. I can never figure out where my black and white picture of that is. And I have not started. I just finished clue number 2. Now, I'm going to show you how much yarn I have left in a second, but this is what we have going so far. This is the Cowltopus, and I am using Emma's yarn, and I have an example of the next type, or the next colors that I'm going to use, because I'm planning on making a couple of these, and I'm almost worried. So here, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm worried about this. So let me show you. I have this much left of the main color, which I think is pretty good. This is the contrasting color number 3. There's not a ton left here, and I have 4. And let me see if I can show you 4. Let me see if I can reach 4. So here's 4. So it's gonna go into that. I don't know if I'm going to have enough. I feel like I will, but it's gonna be interesting to see. Sometimes I'm not quite on these things. And one of my grumbles with taking swatches, and I know you guys are like, Mandy, you have to swatch because sometimes you just need to know. But it seems like every time I swatch, and this is going to be terrible. So if you're a beginner knitter, don't pay attention to me, make sure to swatch. But every time that I swatch, it feels like it throws my gauge off. It does something. I feel like even after I wash and block my swatch and I've got the numbers perfect, I still change actively as I'm knitting the item. So with that said, like I said, I have this much done. and I'm just going to be starting clue 3. So I'm going to be going into the brioche, and let me see if I can get this on my head. So it works. That looks silly because the cord's right here. It works like this, and that doesn't seem overly big. So, I mean, it's not as though my gauge is off. It's just I don't know if I have enough yarn. I do like how it's coming out, and even though I put it on screen, I'm gonna say it. This is a pattern from Laura Nelkin, and this was her mystery knit along from last October. And I've been following along with her videos, and they're great. And I really have liked knitting this pattern. Once you get it, and it feels like you don't need much instruction past then. So as long as you hang on for the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 repeats, you understand what's going on and you're good, I feel. So I don't know, we're gonna see. We're going to see what happens when I start this brioche, because I haven't looked too closely into how the brioche starts or anything like that. And the reason that I had like kind of prepped myself by learning brioche was because of this cowl, because it does have brioche around the neck, and you can choose to not do it, but I want to do it. So we're gonna do it and see how it goes. If for some reason it turns out that I don't have enough yarn, I have 2 options. First of all, I will knit with what I have left and see how far it gets me. I will put it on the barber cords, block it, see what it looks like, see the ending measurements compared to the schematic. I hope there's a schematic. I will see if the measurements are what I think that it should be. And then I will keep it on a barber cord, and I am going to start another one. I am going to start another one with the suggested needle size and not the needle up size that my gauge swatch told me to use, and see if that helps. It doesn't appear as though my gauge is off, but we're gonna see. That is my plan for that. Now, I wanted to show you these because this right here was knit with one of these kits. So this is the Cowltopus kit. This is by Emma's Yarn. And it says the kit colors are Group Hug. So that's the main color. And this is like a purpley, bluey, greeny color. And we've got Holly Jolly, which is right here. And Tropic Like It's Hot. I'm going to hold up all of these together in a second. And Love My LYS. This is actually a really pretty color. I really like this one. And Happily Ever After, which is a very pretty bluey green. So if you take a look at all of these together, trying to figure out how the fade's gonna go. Something like this. And with this. So these all together. And I'm going to get these wound, so that way I can start on the second one, because I don't think the brioche is going to take an entirely long time on here. With the Cowltopus, it is a very fast pattern. So you've only got so many stitches on here to work, and the pattern isn't very hard. So I've only been knitting, let's see, a couple of hours every night after work, and while being able to study and knit. So it's not overly complicated, and it doesn't take a long time. This is DK weight yarn, so that makes it appear even faster for me, because I'm used to knitting fingering, And compared to this, fingering takes forever. This has knit up very fast. So that is my Cowltopus and my future Cowltopus that might be coming next week, might not. I guess it depends on, am I going to be able to finish the Cowltopus? Should I dig some DK weight yarn out of my stash and see how that looks? Should I put it on pause and knit the next one with the smaller needle? Because you know what? It might turn out that I like the one with the smaller needle and I just rip that one entirely out, skein it back, or not skein it back up, ball it back up and knit it again. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I've done it before. It's knitting, so it just means that I get twice as much enjoyment from the yarn. At least that's what I tell myself as I'm actively doing it. I don't know if it's possible, but I also know that I've really never regretted knitting or ripping something out, even though at the time it's kind of sad. So I am going to show you my shawl next. I have been working on the Vertices Unite by Stephen West, and I did not color it in like I wanted to. I didn't even think about doing it, but the shawl is let me show you the schematic. The shawl is a triangle shape, and it is done all by picking up sides and knitting things together. It is very modular, and there is no seaming at the end. So I've been loving it, and I am working on the third section. So it's going to say E, and that's the one I'm working on. You start working on it by, if you look at the arrow that's in E, you basically pick up those sides as you're knitting and then kind of increase out. And then once you get far enough, you stop increasing and start going this way. It's very fun. I've been enjoying it. I really do like this pattern because it's all garter stitch. Just like this cardigan, it's very squishy. And of course I stopped right in the middle of a row just to make it hard to show you guys. So let me see. I am working on this right here. Does that show? So you can see the colors and you can see how the square is kind of forming. Just ignore the fact that it's on a cord. Okay, I'm going to talk about it while I move my stitches. But I've enjoyed knitting this. I've done Stephen West patterns before. I have made a sweater. Well, I've actually made two sweaters. I've made the painting brick sweater, and I have also made the Fantastitch. Now, both of those are also shawls, and I'm pretty sure that he probably has like hats and cows from them too. One of the things that I think is actually pretty cool about Stephen West is that even if you don't do shawls, a lot of his patterns come in different flavors, so like hats and cowls and socks, which is useful for me. I wish he had a couple of more patterns, especially like the shawlography. I believe that's the one I really liked. I think that's it. One of his older mystery knit-alongs, I can't remember which one, but I really liked it, and I wish that he had it in a sweater pattern, but maybe one day. So almost done here. This yarn is a merino nylon, and it is from Mouse Witch Yarns, and it was a kit that I got. I believe, I don't know when I got it, so let's not even talk about that, but it's a kit that I got called the Sugar Plum Set, and there we go. Now hopefully you can see it a little bit better. So my goal is to just basically keep knitting until this, see that little corner at the end? Keep knitting with the selvage stitch down to the bottom, and then I'll start working a different way. But this is the Sugar Plum Stitch, and set by Mouse Witch Yarns, and I really love how the colors are working together. This shawl is gonna be very big, but it's so much fun to knit. I definitely recommend, if you like to knit shawls, this one is super easy and very, very comfortable. You can do this while watching TV or talking to somebody, because really it's just knitting. Sometimes you'll have to like pick up selvage stitches or increase or decrease, but it's nothing that I would consider too intense that you can't hold on a conversation at the same time. I do like it for Zoom knitting, and it has been a lot of fun to make. So that is my Vertices Unite. Now, the only other thing that let me move this off to the side. The only other thing that I have been working on, and my yarn is probably all tangled here, okay, is the Shetland Skies. Now, I'm gonna put up some pictures and some information about the yarn that I am using. And this is what the yarn looks like. It comes in these gigantic cones. This is Tides from Whole Yarn. And it is 30% wool, or no, I always do that. 30% silk and 70% wool. So I am using, and these are the colors that I decided to go with. Black. So this is called Raven, and this one is called Cream. And then this final one is called Aqua. So I am using basically black, blue, and white. And so if you look at this pattern, it uses a whole bunch of colors. And the way that the sample is knit is that it works basically one color work around the entire thing, knits for like this much, and then swaps out the color and does one color work. But you know me, I always have to make things more complicated. So I took a look at the charts and decided I am not going to do that. I am going to basically break it apart and make the motifs different colors. And I don't know, yeah, that's coming up a little bit. That's basically a snowflake. And you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like. Although these rows do take quite a while because I am working two color work around. And another thing that's happening is the white and the aqua are getting like, they're kinking on each other, and it's driving me crazy. I'm gonna have to think about how to stop that from happening. So if any of you guys have any suggestions, let me know. It's hard because I want those two colors to be the dominant colors when I'm working with them, and the Raven color to be the background color. So that means the Cream and the Aqua go in my left hand, and the Raven goes in my right hand. But I still keep accidentally like twisting them, and I've just been dealing with it so far. So if you guys know of any magical suggestions, because I know you guys give me tons of really good suggestions a lot of the time. So if you happen to know any for this, please let me know. But I have been working that, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So last time when I showed you, I believe I had the collar, and I had not done the short rows yet. But let me see if I can show you kind of where they are. They're right there. So this will be the back, and it sits a little bit lower. But there's not much to see. I worked on this today because it's pretty much the only time that I can easily work on it, because I have to carry the cones, like, I have to have the cones right and carry them along wherever I go. So like if I'm knitting out in the living room, like all this stuff comes out there with me, and I need my clipboard, my wooden clipboard. I know I've showed it to you guys before. I really do like that. But in order to follow the charts for the Cowltopus, well, not really the Cowltopus anymore, but in order to follow the charts for this, I need that clipboard so it shows me where I am, because otherwise I get completely lost. And unfortunately, that means that since it's knitting that I need to pay a lot of attention to, I can only really work on it on Saturdays. So it is what it is. Once I have a little bit more on there and I can tell the pattern pretty well, it's going to make me more excited to knit on it. And hopefully once I am tying up, I'm making 3 Cowltopuses. So once I'm done tying those up, I should be able to focus a little bit more on this. But that has been basically what I've been knitting on this week. It doesn't seem like a lot. It really isn't. I have been working super hard to study for my AWS course, and that has been going well. I think I'm like 87% done with my online study course that I'm doing. So I wanted to show you guys a couple of things, and these are things that I found on the internet. And you know me, I love to find things on the internet, especially when they're knitting. So the first thing, and I didn't print a picture, but I could only find one picture that was from the designer, and I liked the shawl so much that I have to show the shawl. And I don't want to show any pictures that aren't the designers to promote their pattern, because that's not cool. So here it is. There's this picture, and this shawl is called Only Yarn in the Building. This was a mystery knit along by Mary Annarella, and I am on her newsletter, and I wasn't even aware. I'm sure I got the email, but I wasn't aware that she was even having a mystery knit along. And I was going through my email and I saw the shawl pop up, and I'm like, whoa, this is gorgeous. Now, if you read, and I'm linking to her blog post, if you read about the shawl, you can actually see like the buildings of New York City and like people on the subway. It's really cool. This is a cool shawl. I like this shawl. I like the way that it's shaped. I like the color of it. I've looked at the pictures of other people's projects. So go to Ravelry, check it out. If you're a shawl knitter, I definitely recommend this one because it's really cool and really pretty. I might actually put this one on my second bundle to start knitting after I'm done with my first, because I liked it that much. I am a big fan of like graphic, and I think that this shawl kind of fits that bill. So another thing that I wanted to show you, and I haven't even opened this yet. This just came in the mail. Was it last Friday? So it was not last Friday, it was the Friday before that. I got an email from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and this was last Friday, or maybe it was last Thursday, and they had shown a picture of something called a Knit Pros mini bouquet. And I started reading about it, and I'm like, whoa, that looks really cool. So let me tell you about what it is. This is a luxury, I'm reading directly from the back, so this is why it sounds like marketing speak. This luxurious set of 8 sizes of 2-inch mini interchangeable needles in stunning silver and rose gold finish, perfect for small intricate projects. Compact, stylish, and functional, this gift set is a heartfelt way to inspire creativity and celebrate the special knitters in your life. So it's 8 pairs of mini interchangeable tips, and it goes from sizes 3 to 6 millimeters. So that's size 2.5 to 10 US size. And basically it says 4 transparent nylon coated stainless steel fixed cables with silver connectors to make needle lengths of 10 1/8 inches or 27 centimeters and 30 centimeters or 12 inches, 2 of each. It comes with 4 metal end caps, 2 cable keys, a finishing needle, and 2 mini stitch holders. So this is what the case looks like. And I bought this, like I said, they had 12 left on their website. And I really like the mini interchangeable needles, and I use them all the time. And I was really excited about this one. I have not used Knit Pro, but I always like looking and finding things, right? As my husband would say. So that is what the package looks like, and I think it's pretty cool. And I'm trying to open it up to show you guys, because like I said, this is me opening this thing. Now it's sliding right out of the package, and here we are. And that's what they look like. Very pretty. Now, how much did I pay for this? I paid, I think, $80. And it comes with how many sizes? It comes with 8 pairs. So that's pretty good. And these are the cables. This is at least 2 of the length. Well, it's 1 length, basically. You get 2 pairs of 2 different lengths. And if you know, Chiagoo also has a set of these. They have 3 different sets. So they have a larger set, a medium set, and a tiny set for teeny tiny needles. And I always worry I'm going to lose them. I really like this little case that all of these fit in. So you have a set of 8 pairs. Let me pull it back out here. And it is kind of a little bit difficult to get out, but I'm thinking once it kind of stretches from use, it'll be a little bit better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I think that's a much better deal than the Chiagoo ones, because I don't know how much the one set of Chiagoo needles are or how much they cost, but I'll put up that information as well just so you guys can compare. I'll do a comparison on one set of Chiagoos to this set so you can see the difference and kind of compare them. But I've never used Knit Pro needles, and I'm interested to see if I am going to like them. And if I do not like them, I will do this as a giveaway, because there's no point in keeping them if I'm not going to like them. And I would rather someone else use them. But hopefully the next time that I use the mini circulars, I'm trying to think of what I'm knitting. The shawl, the Cowltopus, and the Vertices Unite. It might be a little bit because I don't have any sweaters on the needles. And I thought about that, and I'm like, ooh, because you guys know me. I love to knit sweaters. Like, that's my happy place, and I have been enjoying, don't get me wrong, I've definitely been enjoying what I'm knitting, but it feels wrong not having a sweater on the needles. And I do have that Montrose Junior cardigan that I want to make my daughter, but I don't want to cast on another thing, because right now I have 3 things on the needles, And that's getting, 4 will be too much. I can just tell you that right now. 4 is going to be too much. I have a fingering weight item from the Shetland Skies. I have a fingering weight Vertices Unite, and I have a DK Cowltopus. Now, the Montrose Junior Cardigan is, I believe it's Aran weight. So I'm sure I could do it, but the thing, when I start getting more than 3 things on, you're going to see very slow progress. And I'm the type of person that just doesn't like doing that. Okay, I have one more thing I want to show you. And like I said previously, you guys, I'm sorry that I'm not showing patterns for right now. Well, except the only yarn in the building, I had to show you guys that. I thought it was so cute. But I apologize for not showing patterns for right now. It's just with the editing and stuff. I have decided to forgo it until I'm done with my certification. It shouldn't take too much longer, I hope, but keep your fingers crossed for me. Okay, I am very guilty of watching Facebook or watching Instagram and saying, oh, that's cool, and then going out and getting it. So that's where we are right now, and that's why I have this. Have you guys seen this on Facebook? This is Knit Nation. This is issue number 1. And this is what it looks like. And I bought this from their, oh gosh. I'm gonna have to block that out now. Good job, Mandy. Okay. It doesn't matter. I have already had to block it out. So we're just not gonna show that part before I give you guys all of my address. So this is Knit Nation, and this is basically a newspaper of knitting stuff. And I am going to read to you the top of this. It says pages 4 to 7, mini makes, techniques, textures, and fiber deep dives to level up your knitting skills and expand your creativity. Pages 8 through 9 is cozy living. Cozy knits to make your space warm and inviting, from blankets to pillow covers. 10 to 12, closet staples, stylish, functional, and timeless knitwear inspiration, because nothing beats a handmade wardrobe. And 13 through 24, stitch break, puzzles, humor, and knitting trivia, because every knitter deserves a fun break between stitches. So it says 8 must-try patterns this month. There's a heart cowl knit pattern, and there's a really cool article. It says the Knitting Guild of 1527, how a secretive society changed or shaped the craft forever. And like I said, there's puzzles too. Now I haven't gone through this yet either, so I am going to show you what I can. Maybe just a page so you can kind of, I'm trying to make sure there's no pattern on it before I show you. But this is what it looks like inside. And I thought that this would just be kind of fun to look at. And I am one of those people, and let me know down in the comments below if you're one of these people. I love knitting magazines, and especially when I first started knitting or crocheting, I loved the magazines. I would go get the magazine and look at it, and it would be my happy space to where I could look at the magazines, read about different things, look at patterns, and just have a really good time. And now, a lot of the knitting magazines, a lot of the crochet magazines are gone. Like, I believe Interweave Knits is gone. Vogue Knitting, is that gone? What was the one they just closed? Pom Pom. And I know that they have more knitting and crochet magazines in the, like, across the pond, but those are very expensive to kind of get delivered here. And you know what? They always have the best ones too, right? Because when I went to Barnes & Noble's, theirs always came with like those really fun things, like extra needle stoppers or stitch markers, and I love that. I am such a dork, but I thought that this was cute. I thought it was a cute idea, and like I said, I subscribed for the first issue, and my homework is I'm going to read this and report back next week to let you know how much I liked it. And if it's something that you guys want to give a try to, I believe I saw it on Facebook, and when I subscribed, the first issue was like $4-ish and shipping. I don't think it was very expensive, and I just thought that it compared to a magazine and it was a different take on it. They also have a crochet one as well. And where is it? It says, obsessed with crochet, grab your copy of Crochet Nation newspaper. So, and look at the back. They have a crossword puzzle. So if you're into that types of things, let's see if we can play a game here. It says, a color work technique where multiple yarns are carried across the back of the work. So, do you guys know the answer to that? Okay, that is everything that I have to show you. I thought it was cute. Like I said, I am one of those people that really miss like the knitting magazines and the crochet magazines. I would at least like a digital copy, maybe, just to be able to read. But there's something about like having the physical product that I really enjoyed. The only problem was after you were done with the magazine, storing it was difficult. So, okay, yeah, that was the one problem with the magazines. But I think that was it. That was all the knitting and the crochet and the crafting that I had to talk about today. Oh, you guys, I know that a lot of you commented about the standing frame and you hoped that I was able to get a demo of it last week, and I did, and it's so cool. So it is something that I can transfer myself from my wheelchair. Oh, if you guys are new here, I'm paralyzed, so that's why I use a wheelchair. I'm well, I guess I should say completely paralyzed. My Asia score is Asia A, which means that, and this was from my neurologist, it basically means that I'm completely paralyzed, and my injury level was T 9 and 10. And the reason that I sound not sure of this is because I didn't like go skydiving and become paralyzed, or like dive and hit my neck wrong or something. I don't know if I've ever really talked about, well, I think I did in the first episode, but I had a spinal cord ependymoma in my spinal cord, my lower lumbar spine, and it was the size of a grapefruit. And I was diagnosed with this when I was 10. So I turned 10 in August. They removed the tumor on the day before Halloween that year when I was 10. And it took them a very long time to diagnose me with this, because I was between the age of 8 and 10, I basically couldn't lay flat, and my parents took me to a bunch of different doctors and nobody could figure it out, because you just really don't see spinal cord tumors in children. The type of tumor that I had, an ependymoma, is most frequently found in children in their brain. It is most frequently found in adults in their spinal cord. So, with all of that said, they removed the tumor, and I was okay. I could walk until I was 30, and then all of a sudden I started slowing down. And when I say slowing down, I mean I needed to use a cane, and then I had to use a walker, and then I went to a wheelchair, and now I'm at the point where I need the wheelchair. I can't stand on my own anymore. And that is why I wanted to get the standing frame. And that's why I wanted to get the demo for it. So we got the demo, and it is something that I can transfer from my wheelchair to the standing frame and use independently, which is something that I wanted. And I've been able to knit in it and study in it and just relax in it. This sounds weird, right? I work from home, and I've worked from home for like 19, 20-ish years now, and I've loved standing while working. I've loved like using an exercise ball while working, and this would have been previous to my mobility issues, and I really miss that. I am not the type of person that just likes to sit still, and I see that in my daughter because she is just like me, and she is not the person that likes to sit still either. So I was lucky enough that the man who came and demoed left the demo standing frame here and said that I could trial it. And that made like my entire month. So it's at our house right now, and I am able to trial it. And that is how I know I can knit with it, and I can study with it, and I can just spend a lot more time vertically upright. And it seems like over the last, it's been here 3 days. Over the last couple of days, I've spent hours at a time standing, and it's improved my mood, I think. It's just made me it's making me a little bit happier, right? That sounds dumb, but you don't really notice what you miss, and you don't really notice how much you like doing things until you can't anymore. So with all of that said, I definitely love the feeling of being able to stand while knitting, and I've got like my knitting bag hanging off one of the handles so I can just stand and knit, and it's good. It makes me feel good, and I think that that's important. We kind of need as a society to recognize that we should do things that make us feel happy or good. So, how has your week been? How have you guys tackled any awesome like knitting feats? What are you working on? Let me know down below. I love hearing about new patterns. I love hearing about what you guys are working on and what successes or failures you've had, because it's also important to make sure that we recognize whenever we're having failures, right? Because who knows, this Cowltopus, when I make this one over here, when I make this, and if I make it with the smaller size needle and I like it better, well, I'm gonna have to rip all of this out. So it's important to show things like that, because we're people and we're not perfect knitters, and sometimes stuff just happens. I think that that's pretty much it for my life. I've been reading the Will Trent series books. I think there's 12 of them. I'm still listening to 7, I think. I think it's 6 or 7. One of them, and I like them. They're police books, and I mean, if you like the cop novels and true crime stuff, they're pretty interesting. I do like them, and I do like Karen Slaughter. Some of her other books are kind of difficult. If traumatic things bother you, I would definitely recommend reading descriptions on them before you go trying to listen to one, because some of them, like I said, can be hard to read. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No TV here. Hockey is over. If hockey isn't officially over for us, it should be, I think, pretty soon here. The Red Wings are definitely not making the playoffs, so that is sad. Boo. Like I said, I'm from Detroit, guys, so I grew up loving the Red Wings. If you're hockey fans and you're around my age, you probably remember when the Red Wings would like constantly win and Now, it's definitely changed, but I still love them. They're still my home team and I support them no matter what because that's how it goes. Plus, I really like their colors and that's important too. Okay, I have talked all entirely too much and have gone on too many tangents. So, if you are interested in next week's pattern prize giveaway, please leave a comment down below. If you could, please hit the like button or the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. If you're new here, leave me a comment just to say hi. I love to get to know you guys. Okay, thank you so much for sticking around, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.